You know, it's sometimes hard to remember, but there is a presidential campaign happening in the midst of this COVID-19 crisis. Assuming no major spikes in infections, the campaign may even take center stage again in our national news cycle. And that means it's time to check in on what the polls indicate about the race between President Trump and the presumptive Democratic nominee, former Vice President Joe Biden. So to bring some insight and fresh polling data to us is Emerson University professor and director of the Emerson College Next Star Poll, Spencer Kimball, who joins me tonight from Boston. Spencer, good to see you, Professor.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. And so Monday, you released some poll numbers from 3 big states, and we'll show folks those findings. What stands out to you in terms of these percentages about what is the most noteworthy?
Well, obviously, everybody kind of eyes draw on the ballot test, the horse race between Trump and Biden. But I thought a couple of interesting questions outside of that was, one, voters' excitement for the candidate. And it was interesting to see in all of these states, Trump voters are just genuinely more excited to get out and vote for him than the Biden supporter. And what's also interesting is that the voters' expectations are about 15 points more towards Trump winning than what the ballot tests are. So in a state like California, where we have Biden winning by 30 points, only about 10% of those voters actually think Biden is going to win the presidency. So it's a very interesting dynamic we see playing out in the game.
Oh, sure. And it seems like a lot of this is just going to end up being the ground game between the campaigns in terms of who can get people out. But of course, who knows now with all the calls for voting by mail. But, I was also struck by the percentage differences in your poll about what voters said was important to them. And you had the importance of beating Trump, I guess, for the Democrats, or re-electing Trump for the Republicans. The beating Trump percentages seem to outpace the re-electing Trump across these 3 states, if I'm reading this right. So what does that suggest to you?
Without a doubt, for Democratic voters, it's all about beating Trump. And I think we saw that play out in the Democratic primary. If you recall, when Bernie Sanders looked like he could have been the nominee, the party kind of just fell in line behind Joe Biden, and he became the nominee Super Tuesday. Now we're into the general election, and for those Democratic voters, that's still their number one issue, is just beating Trump. They don't really care about policies. They just want somebody else in the presidency. The issue for the Democrats are, now we're in a general election. And independents, they don't really care about beating Trump, nor do they care about re-electing Trump. They care about the economy, healthcare, and immigration. It'll be interesting to see if the Democratic Party can come around and start talking about those issues, or if they're so just focused in on beating Trump that they kind of lose out on some of those independent votes.
Right, and a lot of this, too, will end up being shaped by who Biden picks for his VP. We can talk about that at a different time, because that is an intriguing discussion in and of itself. One thing I wanted to bring up before we have to go, though, is this partisan divide on the issue of getting back to some degree of normalcy. And in this case, you asked about the comfort level in heading out to restaurants. And looking at this, it's almost like we're talking about 2 different health crises. According to these percentages, it's just 2 different situations depending on whether you're a Republican or a Democrat.
Well, I think you nailed it on the head. One, it's a health crisis, because even 70%, 30% of Republicans say they won't go to a restaurant. But there's such a stark difference between who's willing to go to the gym, who's willing to go to the parks and to the beach, who's willing to go to restaurants. And you see that between Democrats and Republicans. Independents, they lean more towards the Democrats on this issue. They're a little bit more, in this case, conservative about going back and restarting the economy. So it's truly interesting to see, as things open up, who will come out, and do we see a partisan divide just in who ends up showing up at different restaurants these days.
No kidding. Now, finally, Professor, what is your sense about where swing states like Ohio end up in November? And I could put Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Florida in that pile as well. It seems these states will determine the election. Is that your sense from the polling you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely looking at Pennsylvania as, to us, the keystone state of this entire election. But Ohio is very important, because no Republican has ever won the presidency without winning Ohio. And I think there's a big wild card right now with people's concern about in-person voting. We asked in these states, would you rather vote in person or vote by mail? And it's interesting, in a state like California that has mail balloting as an option, 75% of those voters want to vote by mail. When we look at states like Ohio and Texas, that number drops to 50%. They're much more split. And again, there's a partisan split here. Democrats, they want to vote by mail. Republicans, they want to vote in person. So a lot of this is going to fall upon the legislatures to try to figure out how to give people access to the voting box. And I think we're going to have to see this struggle over the fall. There was money put into the stimulus package to allow for some of this to happen. But I do think that's a key factor that we have to be watching over the summer and the fall. How do states actually let their citizens vote? Do they make it more open, or is it going to be more difficult? And those are things that we'll have to consider come November 3rd.
That's exactly right. Professor Spencer Kimball, who runs our Next Star Emerson College poll. We appreciate your insights. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll be back after this.